When we use Windows 9X to manage a floppy drive, we're usually using graphical user interfaces or GUI interfaces. So we'll take a look at how we format a disk, make a system disk, copy a disk, and even create an emergency startup disk. Let's look at formatting a disk first. If we open Exploring My Computer and we right-click on the 3.5-inch floppy disk, one of the options will be to format. When we click on Format, we'll be asked if we want to do a quick erase, which we can only do if the disk has already been formatted once. If we want to do a full format, which we can do with any disk, as long as the disk is in good shape, or if we want to copy the system files only. If what we wanted to do was just to create a system disk that has the command com file on it, as well as a couple of other hidden files, which we'll talk about a little bit later on, then we would select the copy system files only. Whatever we select from format, the first thing that happens is that all of the data that is on the disk will be erased. So you have to be very careful when you format a disk. Another option that we have is to copy a disk. When we copy a disk, we simply put the disk in that we want to copy the information from and click on Start. The information from the disk will be loaded into the computer into RAM. Then the information will be pulled back out and put back into the target disk. We'll have to switch disks back and forth. But it's a very handy tool to have to make a copy of information that we need to give to someone else to be able to hand to them so that they can then use it for their use. One of the handiest disks to have around is a startup disk. And the best startup disk to have around is a Windows 98 startup disk, because the Windows 98 emergency startup disk contains CD-ROM drivers that are compatible with most computers. It contains approximately 26 files that can be used to start the system as well as to do some basic diagnostics. But the best thing about a Windows 98 startup disk is that it does contain the CD-ROM drivers that can be used with most computers. The way that we create an emergency startup disk is that we go into Windows 98 into Add Remove Programs in the control panel and then select to create an emergency startup disk. So next we'll talk about how we support floppy drives.